Hello, hello.
Hey guys.
Hey Mark, how are you?
I am great. How you doing?
Oh, hanging in there.
Hello, how's it going?
Doing good.
Welcome. Good to see you, Mark. I hope
you,
everything's going well. How's business?
Really busy.
Good. That's great to hear.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know how the weekend's going to be. I don't know.
It's a roller coaster ride right now, especially with the election happening on Tuesday.
I know.
Lots of ups and downs. So I needed to make sure that you were going to be committed to the process, right? So I'm letting everybody know because this is going to be live for everybody to see, and I want not just for you to see, Mark. I want everybody to realize that this whole thing is not just some sort of scam. That we are people of integrity, and that we're following up on our promise. All right.
Right.
So right now, Brittany, I need you to pause the recording. Perfect. Okay. We have completed the wire transfer, and I just want to share my screen for a second. All right, there it is. There is the wire, and there is the $3,000 right there. All right.
Thank you, guys.
I wanted the world to see that. Let us know that we're following through on our promises. I also wanted to go through something. I'm on the call with the team today because I wanted to analyze your descending dollar report. I have it up on the screen. I want to go over that. Before we get to that, though, I have word that we're onboarded. Where we get another step in the onboarding process is that we have your documents uploaded, and that we're currently working. How is it going with uploading invoices and stuff?
Invoices. The invoice part's good. Now the other part, the POS part is, I keep emailing my guy because of all the cloud kitchen, the 4 cloud kitchens getting into my POS system.
Yeah. Okay.
So that's been my hiccup. He told me, because he was off, he told me yesterday you should have it another day. So I'm just checking. I really wanted the first to be all up and going so I can hit, starting Sunday.
Beautiful.
Put everything in.
All right. So we need to have our invoices in. We need to have our end of day report in for sales. We will need to have our inventories begun and started to plan them out. So even if he's writing them out on yellow paper, which means we got to have products set up. He gave us a descending dollar report too, so we should be able to get products uploaded. And in there, we'll create placeholders for our batch recipes so that we can get that going immediately. And then Mark, just so you know that when we get on the ground in consulting, our first goal is to get reporting going so that we know where we stand, because anything measured improves. And as fast as we can get a weekly budget variance report for you, the better we're going to progress through these systems. Because what it will do is it will let you know your profitability on Monday after 7 days is complete, and let us know that if we're on track. Then from there, we'll be able to build on systems, meaning you'll be able to delegate schedules. You'll be able to delegate purchasing and all the ordering. And hopefully when I call you and be like, hey, Mark, what are you doing? You're not going to go, hey, Fred, I'm in the Restaurant Depot parking lot. I'm not by my computer. I'm not there. I don't want you having to do that. I want us to get that right.
Yeah.
And so
That'd
Gina
awesome.
will help coach the descending dollar report and all that stuff. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I will just tell you this is where we're at. So he has been sending me his sheet to shelf. So
Beautiful.
We already have that. Now we're still missing a few items, but we have everything that you sent us. We have built, and we'll go over that in a few minutes. I see all your invoices being put in. Your products are all in. So I know, and Brittany and I are going to go over something today, talking about when you go to the grocery store, how we got to kind of separate that.
Yeah, I was wondering. Cool.
Yep.
Okay.
But the only thing left that we have to do, and I know we're just waiting to get all this ghost kitchen, is the end of day report.
Right.
So
okay. Good. Now, one thing about that, so let's talk about a little bit of lessons. So when you have an order come in, let's say you have I don't know, let's say you have French fries as a thing, right? You may sell French fries in the restaurant burgers, right? And then you may sell French fries as one of the ghost kitchen items, right? So one of the things in accounting that has to happen is when you order a case of French fries, we're not going to be able to say, hey, this went to the ghost kitchen and this went to mixed up burgers, right?
Right. Which
what you'll have is food, and it'll be food cost of goods sold against food sales, because we can't say which percentage of that goes into it. Now, for the rest of the world, a lot of times that's how catering comes into it. People want to separate out catering. Well, until we're willing to have a separate inventory with separate products and separate this case of whatever we're buying, we can't separate the revenue centers and all that too. So
right, I understand that. Makes sense.
And now in the POS system, we'll track the sales.
Yeah.
so that we know, hey, this percentage of sales came from this area, this percentage of sales too. But when it comes to your purchasing program, it's got to all come together as food. And the reason is we can't separate the cost of goods sold. Every revenue center has to have a corresponding cost of goods sold. So that's why, well, a lot of times we'll have beer. Well, we can separate draft beer and bottled beer as revenue centers and cost of goods sold, because I can identify on the invoice what's draft beer, what's bottled beer. So we asked for a descending dollar report. And he said to you, so hopefully you got these date ranges for me like I asked him.
Right, he's getting, I'm sorry.
So we'll update it and we'll go from there. But he says, here's a little of quarter 3 and here's a little of quarter 4. You may see some duplicates, but this is kind of an idea of it, right? That's not how we operate.
Okay, believe it or not, that's the first one he's ever had to do. So
what?
So
okay.
I'll get.
Sometimes they're lying when they say that. Sometimes they're truthful.
Well, he's
a tech guy's doing it. For the rest of everybody else, because we're broadcasting this, they will tell you they don't do it because it's usually how people are shopping you to go switch vendors, and so they're not really too excited about giving you this report. All right, so here is the report. This is directly from US Foods. It could be any vendor, and you want to get it in Excel, just like you've done here, which is fantastic, okay? So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to highlight the top row. I'm going to go to data, and I'm going to create a filter, okay? Now, in the future, Mark, once we get you all set up in the system, this is going to be something that our system automatically does. You're not going to have to be an Excel whiz or have to do it. You'll be able to push buttons and have this be done. And it's also going to be better because it will be connected to your inventory. It'll have up-to-date pricing. If you bought products from different vendors, it's going to group them all and put them together. There's lots of massively better things. You'll be able to take that POS report, go right here and compare what you should have done next to what you actually did. It's much easier. But this is kind of a tip. And in our 30-day challenge, did you go through this? Did you see this in the 30-day challenge when I talked about descending dollar report?
I'm behind on it, but I think I did. Starting to see it.
So what I'm going to do is right here, I'm going to actually rank this. So one, I'm checking to see if it's showing total sales. Okay, so here we go. So it is showing total sales. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this and I want to look at descending, right? So I'm going to rank it from largest to smallest. So first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna highlight all the purchases, right? We don't know the exact time frame of this, so it's gonna be important. But this is $52,000 worth of purchases. So half of that's gonna be $26,000, right? And what we're looking at here is you bought about 277 different products. So that's important to realize. So you bought 270 something different products, right?
Mm-hmm.
Well, 26,000 is going to be half of your purchasing. And before I even do it, I'm doing this live with you. Is usually any restaurant, about half of all their purchasing is found in 10 items. So what I'm going to do is you see if as I highlight, it gives me a sum down here, right? And so I'm just going to highlight. So here's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and I'm going to stop when I get to like $26,000. So you're like 20 items is half of all your spending. Normally it's 10. Now, I guess the next thing to look is there multiple items that maybe are combined together. Like right here, so there's different catfish products. Right. So it is less than 20 because we have like catfish and so here's catfish here, here's catfish here.
Yeah, and I think there's beef, a couple different beefs.
So you can see where we're going with this though, right? And what'll be cool is in our system, it will automatically have combined all those different products. So even different products, same vendor, different products, different vendors, it will combine them all. So
are you saying you want to be at 10 or that's just what it usually
No, that's just a rule of thumb. There's no guidelines. And in fact, can't say if it's better or not, but it's just kind of a rule of thumb. It's around 10. And when I say around 10, I'll have restaurants that are 7 or 8 and some that are 15, right? We'll have to do some things to clean this up, but I want to give you the general guideline of what will happen in the system, because in our systems, we're going to start giving you purchasing guidelines based on how you're using products. We'll have to have data in the system, probably a good 60 days of data before we get really good bars. I'm going to do just wings to show you what we're looking to get out of it. So these are random. So one of your first steps is going to be counting how many wings you get out of a case. This is going to be building your building blocks to it. Have you ever done that? Have you ever counted how many wings you get out of a case?
I believe they did, but I couldn't tell you the number.
Okay, yeah, that's okay. Okay, that's why we're doing this stuff. So a normal size, these are randoms. I'm going to say you have about 9 wings per pound. Okay, a lot of times they'll come 8 to 10 size, which means 8 to 10 wings per pound. These are randoms. You're going to have some small, some jumbo. When you get to jumbo, it's 7 to 8. range on them usually. I like the fact that you're doing randoms because you can mix and match to make it a good portion. Now, when you serve your wings, you're not weighing them. You give a number of wings per order.
It's always a number.
Right? That's how most people do it. So what we're going to do first is we're going to say, okay, so we have 61 cases of wing. And what that means is we're also going to have, it's 40 pounds per wing, right? So it's going to be equal to this times 40 pounds of wings, okay? And then we've just said, hey, on average, we're going to say about 9 wings per pound. So a good thing is that, count how many are in a case and we can verify this, right? Mm-hmm. So what I'm going to do is so that the formula is for, I'm going to say wings per pound, and then we can just update it once we count. So we go like this. This is kind of the way you'll update it. Like you'll be able to update batch recipes and it will tie all through your system when you're doing the software. And so what I'm going to say here is we're going to say, this is going to be 9 times that many pounds, right? So what this is going to tell us is that now you probably have on your POS system that during whatever time frame that you use 21,960 wings, approximately, right? And when you count them, you're going to update this per pound wing, and it'll tell you. Now, what we want to know, and this is a good thing to do, is we want to know our ideal for that time frame. And immediately, I think would you guys say, Gino, that the thing he spends more money on than anything in his whole business is chicken wings? Would we, based on the report that we got here, pretty much, right?
Yeah, the number one item.
Yep. Yeah. So you spent over that time frame 5,602. It's going to be your number one item. So what we're doing is, if you can do a better job of controlling your number one item, then we'll do a better job with that too. And it's good to know, and this is where we get to anything measured improves, is everybody's like, oh, well, it's a number of wings per or whatever. I've worked with people where their number one thing was, and Gino's seen this a lot too, because in Louisiana, they do oysters, right? And they're supposed to be like 96 oysters in a sack, right? And then I saw that I was working with this one restaurant, they were losing money like crazy. And they're like, Fred, it's a dozen oysters. Like we can't overportion. It's a dozen oysters. Well, we just found that the vendor was delivering like 80 oysters per sack, right? And we got to hold the vendor accountable to that. So if we're selling them based on 96 oysters per sack, or if you're ordering the randoms and they're sending you basically jumbos because they can't get rid of them, and you're planning on having 9 per pound, but they're sending you 6 per pound, it's going to massively change your cost and where you're at. And if you can hold your vendor accountable to your specs, even outside of what your staff is wasting, then we can have massive money to our bottom line, right? Cool. And even if this is 3 months, if I can save $1,000 on chicken wings, that's $1,000 in real money, okay? And if I do that with each item, then that's 10 grand, and you start to figure it out, and this is where we go low with people, okay? So the ideal, what you'll do is you'll run that POS report. Once we know the time frame, we have to know the time frame though. So you'll run whatever your vendor tells you that this time frame was, you're going to run that exact report on your sales mix in your POS system. And you're going to look and see, hey, I sold 10 wings. What are the sizes of wings that you sold? You sold different sizes, I'm sure.
Yeah. It goes 8, 16, 24, and then 50.
So you'll count those all up, right? And so we'll say, number sold. So right here, we'll go number sold. Right, so you'll sell a certain number at 8. Would you say 8, 16?
8, 16, 24, 50.
24 and 50, right? And then you'll just go to your POS system and you'll say, I don't know, I sold 100 in my POS system. I don't know what it is, right?
Right.
And then I sold 100 of that, and then I sold 20 of those and 10 of those, right? And then this formula will be total wings, and we're doing this without software, right? So this would be, like in this case, it would be this times that, so that'd be 800 wings, right? You'll just fill in these numbers. The second you fill in those numbers from your POS system, it's gonna, here you just put in the number of how many you sold in that time frame, number of how many you sold. If you count that it's 8, then you just change that, right? And then we can get an idea of where we're at. And look at that, you go down where it's 8 per pound instead of 9, right? You go from 19,500 wings to 21,960 wings. It's a lot, right? It's a big difference on how many wings. And you can do the average, even if it's like 8.7, put in 8.7 on that average per pound, okay? And then you just put in from your POS system directly, and you'll have a variance immediately to know how much money am I losing by either my spec not getting hit with my vendor or my employees putting 9 wings instead of 8. And right, and if I go over that, right, let's say I put 1 extra wing, right? So 1 divided by 8. Are you following me on this?
Yeah, I follow it, but I don't see how we'll have a true number without because all my online ordering is not going to be in these numbers for a while. Even
we'll have to figure it out. So you have no reporting on any of your online, none?
Just the total sales numbers, not the item numbers.
That's a huge problem. Everything doesn't have to go through your POS system.
Which will, but I'm saying my pad, I won't have anything to work off of until we start building that up. That's what I worry about.
Okay. What do you mean? You won't have anything until you start.
Well, say I get it set up and we start doing it clean November 1st or whatever it is. When I get all set up, where I can start entering every item.
Yes.
So I'm not gonna have any of my back info to work.
It's okay. You can't change the past anyways, right?
Right. Yeah.
You can't change yesterday. It's okay.
Okay.
You know,
okay,
so
that's fine. That's
you know,
what
a lot of
I'm
times this will say. So here, what I tell you, no matter what we find here, I want to do a better job of watching my wings, because I know it's one of the number one things I spend my money on. Right.
Okay.
And just knowing that
yeah,
alone can have a huge impact on your business.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so that's a huge thing right there. I don't think I'm going to send you the spreadsheet because there's things to work out and it's sort of messed up the way it is. Explain to your vendor how you want it, and just have them call somebody in their tech department to do it exactly how you want. You want to know the exact time frame, and you want a total of each product. You don't care about if it's quarter 3 or quarter 4, and they can do it because it's U.S. Foods, and I've gotten hundreds of these reports from U.S. Foods over the years.
Okay. And what's an ideal time?
You just got to figure out how to do it. So,
what's an ideal time frame then?
3 months is a good time frame to look at.
Okay.
You know, it gives you some pluses and minuses, and gives you a good range to look at.
Okay.
I'd say a month minimum is a good time frame.
Okay. I'll get that. I'll get on them.
Okay. All right. So I definitely wanted this to be in here, and I wanted to go over it with you, kind of, do some teaching to show progress that can be made, in getting your systems there. Now, let's do this though. I'm going to go back to ranking them, and I want us to write down your top 10, because remember what we said is that anything that's here. So we got these, let's see, I'm going to give them different colors. So we got the ground beef that's here, and then we got ground beef here. That's the same. It's the same item, right? And then we got our hamburger bun here. It's just a little bit different. And then there's our other hamburger, and then there's the other hamburger bun, right? So these are the same items.
Yes, sir. Here's
our catfish, which is the same items. So it's kind of crazy, because I was like 20 items. That's so weird. It's so weird to have that many items in your top 10 for a restaurant. But we're seeing here that you are actually right at that 10.
Cool.
So, which is no right or wrong with that. It's just, it's just where it is. So interesting tomatoes are there. You got bacon here. So here's what we got. So I think we have your top 5. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah, we got your top 5. So I want you to write these down, and I want you to let your entire team know that the things that we need to portion better than any other item and make sure that we're doing correctly are chicken wings, our burgers, your ground beef. And this is what I was getting at before. How many ounces are your ground? Looks like you're doing self patty.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, because you're mixed up. You have to be, right? Okay.
Right. We do 5.
So how many ounces are your burgers?
5.3. They're 5.3 ounces. We weigh them for pre-cook.
Okay. So 5.3 ounces before. All right. So we got 5.3 ounces there. Now I want to show you something. Let's say they were off 0.7 ounces, right?
Right.
If they weighed wrong, and you do them beforehand, you're not weighing them to order, right?
No, before.
Okay. So the difference is 0.7, right? I just want to do a little demonstration here, right? So 0.7 that we have there, right? So that means if you're 0.7 off, you're going to be 13%, 13.21% over portion, okay? So let's say that you had a 30% target of cost of goods sold, right? 30%. Right? It's just a little less than how just being off a little bit can really hurt your business, right? So 30%, okay? So if we're off that much, I'm not saying you are, but I'm just saying, hey, it's in your top 5. It's this important to be that precise, right? So if I took 1.0 1,321. Our 30% plus 13.21% times our 30% means that we will add 3.96, right? And you're saying, okay, and so 3.96 over 0.7 of an ounce would add almost 4 points to your food cost. 0.7 of an ounce would add almost 4 points to your food cost, right? And so this is like when we talk about being precise, which means if we want to save one, so let's see what 1 point. So 45K, right? Times 52 weeks, or you're doing 45K a month though, right? Sorry, is that right? 45K a month about? You're doing a little bit more than that, right?
For sales?
For sales, yeah.
No, we're up probably about 60, 65 right now.
720,000, right? So if we were to look at this, it would be equal to, so essentially 0.7 of an ounce can mean that much money to you in a year, right?
Wow.
So if we're off 0.1, right? So just 0.1 of an ounce. So if I take that and divide it by 7, oops. So 0.1 ounce of ground beef is worth $4,000 a year to you. 0.1 ounce, not an ounce. 1/10 of 1 ounce is worth $4K a year if you're off.
Wow.
So we need to be exact.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. And so that just, those are just good lessons for employees. And this is where people don't believe that we get them to 55 prime cost. It's because it's in the details. It's not some magic pill. It's not some, magic trick that nobody else knows about. It's just doing the little things right and then doing them repeatedly and teaching them well to our team.
Okay, cool.
It is cool. And it's good to see that realization. So
it's time to start weighing the burgers at 4.8. I see it. Oh wait, this is going on.
We have to deliver an experience. We have to deliver an experience, and I promise you, we would not teach you to cut corners.
I know. I'm not cutting them.
Okay. All right. So Brittany and Gino have some onboarding stuff to go over with you. So I actually need to jump out.
Okay, Fred.
Here, I wanted to leave you with that lesson.
All right, so Brittany, let's go look real quick and let's show him inventory.
All right. So I'm going to go to food systems today. Now it's still the same concept as beverage and retail systems, and go to inventory items.
Brittany, go to double door freezer, please. And here's all of your products, right?
Oh, cool.
So these are some of the ones like you gave me, and then we just kind of named them this. Again, you can change your location names to anything you want. We're going to be able to change it how you count it. So like when you look at the second item and you see how it's by the 20 pounds.
So there's going to be 2 different ways to change it. Now, if you only want to change it in the existing inventory that you're in, you can click on this drop-down box under inventory side unit and change it to purchase unit. And that one's 20 pounds for this item, or the usage unit, which is 1 ounce by the item.
So say we portion a lot of stuff. Say the Big C, the Twister fries. I portion them into 8-ounce bags.
Okay.
So we got them in the cooler. That's another cooler that's by the fryers.
Okay.
So now when I'm inventorying, I'm gonna count the main cooler, the Big C, what I got in there, and then I have to go and count each bag that's in the other cooler. Or I mean, how am I gonna do that?
So if you want, so a couple different ways you can do it. So let's just say you're going to put 20 bags into a hotel pan.
Mm-hmm.
You can count it by the hotel pan, and in the recipe, we're going to state that each pan holds 20 orders. If you want to count it by the portion bag, we'll write the recipe, right? And we'll say 8 ounces of those French fries equals 8 ounces. You count it by the single bag.
Okay.
We can make it count it any way you want.
Okay, that's what I was curious of.
Yep, you just have to. So I'll just tell you this. So I have restaurants that do the chicken wings. So you know how if you're going to take a sheet pan, you're going to cook them all first, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
So sometimes they want to count it by the sheet pan. I'll have a batch recipe, wings cooked by sheet pan. Then I'll have wings cooked by, they'll portion it. So that way you can count it different ways in different areas.
Okay. Yeah, because I was curious about that for doing inventory. I was curious because that's like, how do you do ketchup bottles when they're on every table?
Gotcha. So, and again, so this is what I would tell you. So if it's on the tables, you don't have to count them. Okay. As long as you don't ever count them on the table.
Yeah. We were going over your inventory shelf to sheet, and we noticed that you had a lot of products missing still. Now, have you been entering your invoices in the invoice log or in the invoice upload?
Yes.
Awesome. Okay. Now, is it beverage system products? Do you know, or is it both?
I know it's a lot of food items that I think we're missing from the count. I have to send them the list because Ethan just sent it to me.
Okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and send you a list of what's currently missing in the system. Go ahead and search for those products from your vendors and then start sending us the rest of those product information and whatnot. Just like the basic information that you've sent us before. Brand, pack size, product name, product price, all of that good stuff.
Cool.
And then Mark, one more thing. Gino wanted to mention something about buying from grocery store to separate food and beer cost.
So one of the things that I would ask you to do is, if you can, if you go to the grocery store, have them do 2 separate tickets. Put your food on one, pay for it, and then do your beer. Because what happens is when we put it, I have to create it by food or beverage systems. So when we put,
that's easy.
Okay, perfect. That's it. Yep. If you
I'm
can
checking it out myself, so you're talking to the guy that's in charge over at Kroger.
Gotcha. All right.
Nobody checks anything out anymore, so I understand. I got 100%.
Yep. Nope. You do that. That would
Plenty
make
food, because you see, I'm in ice cream, cookies or whatever, so that can stay together, but you want the other stuff separate.
Correct. Just because I can't, and as we go through it, you'll understand it even more. If I put beer into food systems, it's not going to pull on my usage report.
We talked, and I was trying to put the passwords in, I couldn't get passwords in, and then I didn't see where you were saying pay rate and stuff. I couldn't see where all that was.
Gotcha. All right, Britt, you want to show them that?
Yep. So if you want to reset someone's password, was there anyone specific or?
Well, I didn't see any passwords for anything.
No, and you never will. Yep.
Because I thought you were saying we gave them a common password, then they went in and changed it.
Correct.
Okay.
And when you put the password in, and then it's just because we don't want people to go in and just see everyone's password, right?
Right, because it was just blank, so I didn't think it
exactly.
Like that.
Yep.
Okay.
So if you ever need to reset a password, you literally have to enter it completely and then save it, and that will actually reset it. But you'll never actually see the password.
Right. Surprising.
All right. So what you should do this week is go ahead and get your employees assigned to all of the positions that they need to be. Employees assigned to their position, you can start utilizing the rest of the parts of the labor system. So I'm going to go ahead and show you a couple other things today. Under labor systems, there's something called employee document or employee docs. Now, the employee docs is going to be an electronic file cabinet for your employees. Now, the next section will be employee log. Your employee log, it's a little bit different from employee docs. Employee log is going to be where you add comments. Again, same exact thing as employee docs. You'll still have this history once you make this employee inactive in the future.
Appreciate
All
it.
right. Thanks, Mark.
Okay.
Talk to you soon.
Okay, guys.
Bye.
All right,
guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Have a good weekend, guys, and don't get some candy
You
out there.
too.
All right.
Be safe.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.